does the public feel about the decision and access to abortions overall after this year? Charles Franklin is the director of the Marquette Law School Poll. He joins us right now. Thank you for joining us, Professor. First of all, tell us about this poll. What were you able to surmise from that?
Well, we've been doing national polling every 2 months on opinion about the Supreme Court. And what we found in repeated surveys is that about 2/3 of the public opposes the decision that struck down abortion rights. About a third favor that decision. And those numbers have been pretty steady. The opposition to it may have crept up a little bit from before the decision came down, but even before the decision, opposition was around 60%.
Well, have you found that the landscape has dramatically changed from a year ago?
In a couple of ways, we certainly don't see big shifts in the balance. It's not like people suddenly woke up and changed their mind about it. But the concern about a woman's choices and who gets to make those choices, I think, has become more common. In interviews, we will hear respondents specifically say, I'm pro-life, but I think a woman has to have a right to choose. And there's some contradiction in those two from a public policy point of view, but I do think it reflects some of the new ambivalence about abortion coming in the wake of the Dobbs decision striking down Roe.
Where do you find the biggest divide?
Well, partisanship is easily the biggest divide. A majority of Republicans favor that decision, banning or striking down the abortion decision, but almost 2/3, 63% of independents are opposed to the decision, and 89% of Democrats. So there is a giant partisan divide, a very unified Democratic Party, and a solid majority among independents. But Republicans have a majority favoring the court's decision, and that poses a real problem for Republican politicians around the country.
Where do you find race and gender playing in there?
Gender is not as big a divide as you might think it would be. It has a lot more to do with partisanship, and specifically that women tend to be a bit more democratic in their partisan identification. And when you look at views about this abortion decision by gender within party, there's a modest gender effect, though overall women are more opposed to the decision than men are.
Have you found that abortions have gone up or down since last year?
This so much depends on what state you live in. Here in Wisconsin, we shut down abortions because of an 1859 law that bans it except in the life of the mother. Illinois has maintained abortion access. So what you see is dramatic declines in abortions in the many states that now have some kind of very restrictive law. But what's less clear is how many people are crossing the borders, Wisconsin coming to Illinois for access to that. And I haven't seen the definitive figures on nationally where the effect is, but certainly in those states that have impose pretty draconian laws, abortion rates are down considerably.
Saw a story today about a woman who traveled from Texas to Kansas to get an abortion, and when she got there, she couldn't get one because they were they were filled up.
And in the Kansas paper today, I was reading a story about how Kansas clinics have been deluged with people from surrounding states like Missouri that have strong bans. And this is where the federalism issue comes in. So many individual states have chosen to go in a sharply restrictive way in abortion law, while others have maintained or even expanded abortion access. So the country is not just divided in public opinion, it is now very divided in the laws that we live under. It matters which state you're in.
Charles Franklin, director of the Marquette Law School Poll. Thank you so much. Very interesting. Appreciate it.
Thank you.